Good evening, everybody. I am Jason Sisneros, also known as the Bald Avenger. Welcome back to another episode of the Bald Avenger Show. I'm also known as the Tattooed Guru, the purveyor of all things common sense, king of the Misfit Nation, and a legend, baby, in my own mind. And this is Just Jason Sunday. This is something those of you that, again, they're new to the show. What's up, Jennifer Butler? Good to see you. And those of you that are new to the show, I usually do a show just catching up on the entire week because if you're following my page at all or anything that I put out, I make a lot of smart ass comments throughout the week, and not everything is tied. If you're not following the news or developments as closely as I am on a day-to-day basis, some of them, you know, I've been told by Emily many times, what are you even talking about? So I'd like to come together on Sunday, sort of clear out the week, get together and boost everybody's spirits. You guys boost my spirits by being here at the show. I really, really appreciate getting to see you guys here. And a lot of you, now that we've been traveling around the country, getting to see a lot of you guys in person. So another tour I'm going to be jumping on. There's a great big event. We'll talk about all of that. But I wanted to start the show out by saying a big thank you to Nourish. It's spelled wrong, NURISH. .me, right? NURISH.me. One of the greatest anti-inflammatory products you're ever going to find in the marketplace. And also from Anton J, which I am the founder of, but it also sponsors this show. And it helps good people make more money, get more time so they can do more good. And that's what we're all about. Keeping that energy high, making fun of the stupid shit that we see out there. But I've decided to start a series. I've been watching, just kind of paying attention to some of the personalities that are out there online. And by the way, forgot to say the code for nourish.me, you get a 25% discount. Misfit 25 is the code if you want to put it in there, 25% discount. But I've been watching a lot of people that are out there that played on the fear, right? We know, anybody who's followed the show and followed me at all, you know that I have handled and pointed out where did all the gurus go? Like, if you're a leader and a guru out there, you are meant to lead in times of challenge. You're called to step up, not just in the good times, not just using your audience for sales or whatever the heck it is, or selling your get rich quick scheme or whatever it is. You're honor bound to step up and into places of leadership. Now, when I did that, a lot of you will remember my audience sort of semi-abandoned me back in February of 2020. Because I was already to where we are right now in my head, in my predictions, in all the things that we were saying. I'm like, look, y'all, be very, very careful, because once you give the government something, it's near to impossible to get it back. And it turned out, I just put out a thing. I said that back in February, said that back in March, I said that back in April. These are the things, and not as in a see I told you so thing. But my job as a leader, and I knew that my popularity was going to drop, and that people that were following me because I made fun of certain things, or they were getting value through the business advice or whatever it was. I knew that this would be a little bit controversial, but I also knew that I was honor bound, right? We all serve a higher power, like sovereignty, right? We say sovereignty is our freedom that is granted to us by God. We don't need a man's or a woman's or an entity's or a church or a government or anything of that nature to grant us sovereignty. God already did that, right? And so when we're called to that level of service, we have to say things sometimes that are super unpopular, that don't make people feel good in the moment. And that, I believe, in those moments when we feel something where it hits us in a certain way, there's two things. It's either wrong and against your integrity, or it's hitting a part of you that might go, damn, that might be something I need to pay attention to, so that I could advance into something better for my life. Look, at the end of the day, I challenge myself daily to be challenged on my belief systems, keep my mind wide open, and I'm looking for opportunities to serve. I believe two things: that God put me on this earth to become the best Jason Sisneros I could possibly be. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to suck in order for me to be the best me that I can be. It doesn't mean that I have to find people and I have to, I have to utilize out of integrity ways to put other people down. It just means that I believe that God granted me the power to be free and to be free to become the best me that I can be. How do I do that? I read, I challenge myself. I try new things. I fail miserably. I learn from mentors. I learn from people that are making mistakes other places. I read, I learn for the words of people in the past. I watch other people's shows. I'm constantly taking in new bits of information so that I can make micro adjustments in my behaviors. But it doesn't stop there. It goes to that next step, which means that God called me to be the best me that I can be for the purpose of serving other people, right? And that's where we build up our treasures in heaven, and where we honor God in our behaviors. Not always popular, as I saw very, very blatantly. And as some of you, like I can see a lot of you that are on here, you guys were seeing some of the same things that I was seeing, and then getting louder and louder and louder. And the opposition was getting harder and harder and harder. Death threats and death wishes for me, for my kids, have to have constant security around my children because of the work that we do anyway in the trafficking. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to get back in touch with y'all, start doing a consistent show on Sundays as I used to, because it's still busy, but I think it's super important that we stay connected, especially over the next 6 months, because there's some stuff coming, right? There's some stuff coming. The country has woken up. Don't have to be a Republican or a Democrat or anything else to understand that there's been some bad shit that's been happening. And a lot of people on both sides of the equation have realized, right? This isn't right. Like, the stuff that's going on isn't right. So I just wanted to come out. I'm going to call this next series, I don't know how many I'll do, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you guys remember, I did a series right at the beginning that was sort of an update to keep everybody sort of in the mode. I did that every day for several months in a row, kind of to keep everybody's head in the game while they were searching for toilet paper back in the day. But now it's to reinforce that gut level feeling that a lot of you have had that something's off, right? So I've titled this series, Nope, You're Not Crazy, right? This is the series. So every Sunday I'm going to come here. Obviously I'll have great guests and stuff in between shows, but Sunday's just for me and you, and for me to say whatever the hell I want to, reflecting on the week and then looking forward. So the series is called Nope, You're Not Crazy. And I just want everybody to take a deep breath, because I know a lot of you wonder out there, during the course of the week, as you're watching these things, you go, am I crazy? Or is this stuff just not right? Like, and then you're kind of silenced because of the pressure that's put on social media, and you see all of these things that are happening. I just will refer to somebody that's going to be a guest on in the next couple of weeks. I don't know exactly when she's coming on, but she's super liberal, and I'm more right of center, and we have battled back and forth. I love her to death. She's an amazing human being, but I have gone head to head with her, a brilliant woman, gone head to head with her in many arguments. And even she now has turned the corner to say, the stuff that's happening, Jason, just isn't right. And she's a human rights attorney. She was involved in winning the largest settlement in history against Pfizer. It was about $4 billion ish, as she was fighting against them, and has been silenced, right? She's like, I don't want to speak her stuff here, without her being here. But at the end of the day, she's like, I don't want to be forced to be able to do anything. And I have fought this is her speaking. I've fought my entire career to keep people from being forced into doing things, to have a choice, to remain in a position where we have a choice. So I'm just going to go over some of the stuff. This J6 protest that happened, it's so unbelievable to watch the stupidity. They flood. I think there was 500 or so National Guard that they brought in, 300 Capitol Police. As you could see, the undercover work that was being done to infiltrate the crowd of, I think, maybe a couple hundred at this point, because the word got out that there was going to be sort of some setups there to make them look bad, which kind of happened at the original one. This J6 protest, by the way, is for a good reason, and it just spread out. It didn't go to Washington, D.C. Nobody showed up because they're smart and they realized what was there waiting for them, and they just spread it out to different cities. There was one where I'm at here in Charleston this weekend, and it just spread out. And the J6 protest was about the idea that unarmed protesters that actually trespassed and went inside the buildings, which out of 1 million people, a couple hundred people did. And they were being warned as they went in, but they were also being encouraged by the Capitol Police and by the different people because the doors were open. They were high-fiving them, taking selfies with them with the Make America Great Again hats on, the Capitol Police wearing them. And so, they were set up then. They didn't fall for it this time, which is really, really great. But the point is that there's several hundred people at this point that are still being held as if they are actual terrorists with no weapons, no threat to life, none of that stuff. So it's a very important protest to be paid attention to for those of us that have a voice and can still stand up where we are, right? So the J6 protest, the attempt, there was, plus the media, right? There was over 350 or almost 400 members of the media there because they wanted to bust some people going there. I laughed my tail off almost all day yesterday. And then I was like, well, what's the narrative going to be then? What are they going to switch it to? And the narrative, I think I came up with or read somewhere, I probably saw it like on another deal somewhere, but the narrative was, well, the movement, right? The America First movement must be losing steam because they didn't show up for this. No, the America First movement, the Patriot movement, whatever you want to call it, right, is extraordinarily smart. And it's happening for dog catcher and for mayor and at school boards and at county halls and these different places. It's happening across this country, y'all. I'm watching it happen. I'm part of it in a lot of areas. And I am so proud of that movement, not burning down cities, not robbing people, not having to steal tennis shoes to make a point, right? The integrity of what's happening right now by people who just feel that this isn't right. And it's not, hey, it's not right and you're completely wrong and we're going to burn it down until you agree with us. It's going about it in a lawful way and saying, if we don't feel right about the election, why not just let us recount? Let us look at the servers. Let us look at the data. Let us look at the paper to see if it's right. Let us see, if there was printer ink that filled in these dots. Let us look at that. And if on the other side of it, we're proven that this was a clean and fair election, then so be it, right? But it's that resistance to it that has woken so many people up. People that I know were firmly, right, among the 70% on November 4th or November 5th that thought that it was a clean and fair election, which has now flipped. It's almost 70% of the country thinks that it wasn't a free and fair election. Why? Because there was so great of a resistance against the recount. People go, what y'all hiding? Like, what y'all hiding? People that didn't vote for Trump, people that voted for Biden, people that across the board. So that's on the election side. The other thing that cracked me up this week was this thing on the monoclonal antibodies, right? You guys remember when Florida was popping off with a whole bunch of COVID, down there, and he was like, we're not mandating. Matter of fact, if anybody tries to mandate, we're going to fine you $5,000. Like that DeSantis is a hero to me in this country for standing up for liberty, for sovereignty, for freedom, for choice, for those of us in America that still believe that that's what our country was built on. right? And so he's like, no, the science is coming back, and we don't know much about the after effects and whatnot of these vaccines, and we're gonna this monoclonal antibodies. We're gonna kind of run our bets on that. Plus, we saw entire regions in India where COVID completely disappeared, and the only difference was that they flooded it with ivermectin because they didn't have any access to vaccines. And all of this is absolutely available to you online for you to go and find, and for you to double check, because it's true. They counted it. It was up here, one of the highest hit and one of the lowest vaxxed. And then they flooded that area. That particular area is 241 million people in India. And now they have no problem, lowest amount of vax. Israel and other places like America that have gotten, I think, 60 or 70% of the available of people available to be vaxxed have been vaxxed, and it's still like pew. So looks like it's a pandemic of the vaccinated, right? And this is the thing, it's a play on words, right? They say over and over and over and over and over again, it's a pandemic of the unvaccinated. That's the vaccine. It's supposed to protect you. If it doesn't, then it's not really a protective, and it's not a vaccine. Oh, by the way, if you take the vaccine, now I can get sick too. And you can get people who aren't vaccinated sick, and people who are vaccinated sick, because it doesn't really do anything to protect anybody. Oh, but then, you see that thing moving, the goalpost constantly moving and going, oh, everyone's going to protect everybody. And you can watch Joe Biden out of his own mouth, right? Go, it's going to protect everybody. You got to do it. Oh, well, it might not protect so many people. Oh, well, it might not protect anybody, but you got to still get it. Like, you see that goalpost move. And that's why we're just, all as Americans, we're just going, this is bullshit. Not just Americans, it's people in other countries too. We're like, this is bullshit. You can't even lie straight, right? You can't even lie straight. So you see the things that are going on, in that area. And then they start hammering you to make you feel guilty and like you're killing people. And this group of people gets together and starts to other people that don't want to get the vaccine for whatever reason, right? It's still a medical choice, which is supposed to be a private choice for the individual. And they start othering them, and then they make them stupid, and then they make them evil, and then they make them, blah, 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 blah. You guys have seen the movie over and over and over again, whether it was the race riots or the election or the border or whatever it is, all over and over and over. And at the end of the day, it's a choice, right? So what we're finding is that it really truly is a pandemic of the vaccinated. If you get the vaccine, great, good for you, right? If I choose to not get it, it's none of your damn business. If you did, it's none of my damn business. But stop the fighting, right? Stop the blaming, and stop the obvious money. If they've got product on the shelves that needs to move and they're desperate. As many people have heard, the funniest thing that I've ever seen on Facebook, or maybe it was Twitter or somewhere else, was, you don't have to have a marketing campaign for a pandemic. If people were really afraid of this thing, they would be tearing down people. They would be, breaking into people's houses. They would be breaking into hospitals. They would be doing whatever they could to get the vaccine, but they're not, right? So it's bullshit. Obviously, this COVID thing is a real deal, and there's ways of addressing it. Obviously, because the death rate has dropped so significantly, there's other ways of dealing with it. So, so don't accept these labels that they put out there. I know a lot of you don't, because you're free thinking individuals, and really it's getting tiresome. Christopher Kaysen just said that, tired of the fear mongering, and it's really getting old, right? It's literally getting to that point where it's the little boy that cried wolf. They're crying wolf about everything. They're crying wolf about everything except for the things that actually matter. And totally ignoring that stuff and making it seem like it's a right-wing conspiracy that we have. We'll have over 1 million new people in this country coming over the border unvaccinated. They don't have, nobody cares whether they're wearing masks, whatever it is. They're being thrown into communities all over the place. They're dying. The women are being raped on the way up there. It's unbelievable what's going on. And so, no, you're not crazy. When you see that stuff and you think to yourself, this shit is crazy, you aren't crazy for thinking it's crazy, because it is crazy, right? You go down there and you see 14,000 people in Del Rio underneath of a bridge that are coming across the border, which I feel for these people. I mean, to risk everything to come across and for a better life for their family. I can't say that if I was in one of these countries that I wouldn't be one of them that was doing my best to get into this country. I don't blame them, right? And so you look at, there's 14,000 people under there. It's obviously a disaster. And so you have different media outlets that are down there, and all of a sudden, Biden administration to the FFA or the FAA, sorry, Federal Aviation Administration, to Del Rio specifically, get your drones out of the sky, do not take pictures of this, and shut it down, right? Unbelievable that in the United States of America that they are censoring of camera, because what they're saying, what they've done is they've done a good job at shutting people's voices down. And they've done a pretty good job at keeping cameras off of the actual disasters that are going on out there. So we're left to wonder exactly what's going on, unless you're part of these alternative communication devices like Telegram or Rumble, or, you know, places where you can actually see truth. But you sit there and you go, you know, you're watching this stuff happen, and all of a sudden there's a blackout from our government to stop showing something that's actually going on. Too late, right? It was too late. But the fact that they actually said, we're going to fine you, you can be imprisoned if you put a drone up in the sky and you show these 14,000 people that are starving, that are dehydrated, that are, you know, a lot of them had COVID, all this other kind of stuff. You get them out of the sky, or you're going to jail. Right? And you're going to pay a big fine. Crazy, y'all. You're not crazy for seeing it and thinking it's crazy. It's crazy. General Milley, right? General Milley, unbelievable. So General Milley literally called China and said, I'll let you know if we're going to attack you. And everybody goes, well, it was during Trump's. Like, it's because Trump was president. They're like, anything that you did, anything at all that got done, because he was president, it allowed all kinds of evil and all kinds of broken laws and all kinds of things that literally, that's treasonous, right? For a general in the United States military to say, hey, by the way, let me call one of the people, maybe not our enemy, but somebody who's certainly not exactly friendly with us. Hey, just to give you a heads up, you know, I'm going to let you know. I'm going to let you know. That would be like us getting a hold of Hitler and saying, you know what, somebody in our government, American government, calling up Hitler and saying, you know what, I'll let you know where we're going to hit you guys, right? So that you know, and when and if that's going to happen. Can you all imagine that? No, you know, people that are so averse and have been so indoctrinated into the hate Trump propaganda, they allow it. They just allow it. And the rest of us that step back, that may not be Trump fans, or maybe you are, or maybe you aren't, but at the end of the day, you sit back and you go, am I crazy, or did that guy just commit treason? No, you're not crazy. You're not crazy. This is unbelievable. We're living in some amazing times, guys. We're living in amazing times. So I say all of that, and to show the hypocrisy, right? I mean, none of this stuff, like, you've got Biden, who's done so many things and hasn't been, you know, there's been no impeachment, there's been no nothing. As a matter of fact, none of these things. I mean, if let's say the General Milley was Trump's general, what would y'all, those of you that are watching me that hate my guts, what would you have done if that was Trump's general, right? And somebody that was on our side? What if it was Obama's, right? What if it was Bush's, right? It doesn't matter. It was an American president, and the guy committed treason. So you know, I go through these things because to me, it's funny. Like you guys, I laugh at 90% of this shit because it's so blatant to me. They have absolutely no power. When I say they, what I mean is by the mainstream media, who's been purchased by out of integrity large companies who are basically running the news as an advertisement so that they can sell more shit, and in coordination with the Democrats in the government and rhinos, by the way. You know, there's a lot of terrible Republicans that are in there as well, but it's coordinated. So you have no opportunity of influencing my mind through propaganda. Now, I may pick up on some facts and misconnect them at times, but that's because I'm doing my best to fit pieces together. But I'll do my best, as you guys know that have followed me for a while. I will come back and I'll correct myself if I've made a mistake in connecting the pieces myself, which I have done. But for the most part, your gut, right? Your gut tells you what is right or wrong, and you may not know why it's wrong. You may not be able to articulate it in a specified, organized fashion to be able to lay it out like an attorney right off the bat. But you go, you know what? This just isn't right. And I will tell you, and I'm going to finish these shows the same way from here until I don't believe it anymore. This country is awake. Patriots are awake. Individuals are awake and fighting. I'm going to be speaking on October 22nd, which happens to be my birthday. I'm going to be speaking at an event that a woman who has 10 children got passionate about. It's going to be 10,000 people there, but she's got 10 kids, helps in the government locally, raising 10 kids, a family, all the stuff that she does. And she's putting together a 10,000 person event that's going to have General Flynn leading the stack, right? So we can all do something. I'm doing the best I can. Matter of fact, I can't wait. I don't want to blow the news tonight on tonight's show, but I have built something, and I'm going to be launching something for you guys. Know that I have a deep passion for rebuilding the middle class. And I think the only way that we're going to be able to do that is through small to mid-sized companies. Now, if you can't, a lot of people can't compete with, say, an Amazon at this particular time, because to even get close, remember, those guys lost billions of dollars before they ever made a profit. And, you know, that's just not feasible for most people. But the technology is there for you to be able to build a nice business for yourself, doing the same things that you do on Amazon. And I'm about to roll that out to y'all, where it would normally cost somebody about $200,000 to get themselves an operating business. It's going to be much, much less than that. And you're going to be able to have your own store, and you're going to be able to sell whatever you want on it, and basically have your own little Amazon. Now, remember, on Amazon, what they don't do is they don't let you have your customer data, because that's where they make your money. So if you build up, just like a friend of mine who had a podiatrist company, and he built up a really like a $3 million a year business on Amazon. And because they're getting so big, the only way that they can grow is to go into these businesses that are doing really well, copy them, and steal their business. So 2 years ago, $3 million. Last year, $0. Why? Because Amazon stole all of his shit, coordinated with Google, pushed him down in the search engines, blah, blah, blah. No business anymore, right? That's what's going on. And so the more that we are taken away from our independent access to capital, the more you're dependent on the government. And so I have a major project that I'm about ready to roll out to each and every one of you that wants to have, you know, roughly the equivalent of about a $200,000 online business. And it's going to be pennies on the dollar for you to be able to do so. Then you do it or you don't. You know, at the end of the day, most of you that follow me know I've made my money. I'm doing service work now. I'm taking every talent that I have, and I'm throwing it on the playing field right now, as I do for the children through certain ministries, whose shirt I'm wearing tonight. And you can support them at slavefreeproject.com, as I'm doing with every company I've ever fixed, every company I've ever bought and turned around, domestic violence, feeding people. And I have an enormous wealth of information for people who want to build businesses. Now, the tools to build a business can be fairly expensive, and you need a whole bunch of money, and you need to borrow money and blah, 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 and go into debt. And 90% of those companies out there that start, 50% or 90% of them are out of business in the first 5 years. We've got a little bit of an antidote coming for those of you that are looking, and it's going to be exciting, and I can't wait to roll it out. Millions of dollars have been invested into the idea, many, many years, lots of failure, but it's ready. So in the next couple of weeks, I hope to be rolling that out. Pay close attention so that you guys can be some of the first that are able to do it. But there's also the privacy issue with the phone. You guys know I'm affiliated with the company clearunited.com. Just put in Misfit Nation if you put if you want to be on our team. It would be great, but it's a phone. It's a way to get away from all this stuff. So just to let you know, look, I'm not out here to sell you anything. Anything that I do offer you is something that I believe is a major pain in the marketplace. And having every single phone call recorded, and Google being able to track you, and Facebook being able to track you, shut you down, all that kind of stuff, that's a major pain. And it was a couple of days after the election that I said, anybody that's got a phone out there, please get a hold of me, because that's a privacy-based phone. Please get a hold of me, because it's going to be a big need. So that's clearunited.com, Misfit Nation. Those of you that are looking into your health, Nourish, NURISH.me. Put in the code Misfit25, and just look at the videos and stuff. You'll see some amazing stories for somebody that's been able to actually solve radical inflammation. I'm going to do a show on that in the next couple of weeks anyway as well. But just be paying attention, y'all. Keep your heads up, keep your head in the game, keep your heart in the game, and just know that you are not crazy. These things that your gut, that your heart, that your spirit is telling you are wrong. And no matter where you are, don't feel like you're alone, because Misfit Nation is here to back you up, right? You've got lots of patriots from coast to coast that are waking up, from California all the way to New York City. You guys saw a giant uprising of people against the mandates in New York City, y'all, in New York City. So it's not going away. It's just beginning to gain speed. And stop fighting with people who are lock, stock, and barrel propaganda buried into the fear mongering and, oh my God, everybody's going to die. Yes. Big wake up call. Everybody's going to die. From the moment you take your first breath in this world, you are sentenced to death. Okay. So none of us will get out of this world alive. Right. So, there's a lot of us that believe through the blood of Jesus Christ that we're going to be able to live on beyond this. But if you don't, whatever it is that you believe, there's no way that that when it's your time, you're going to be able to stop it. And being afraid of something that like this, that's floating around, it doesn't do you any good. So stand up where you are. Start living, doing things, because I think a lot of us, even people that are strong-willed and strong-minded, have had a hard time during this period of time to stay that way, to say, you know what, I'm not going to be afraid. It's nearly impossible to get away from it in airports and on television and with your friends and so on and so forth. Just turn it around. Like, give those, understand it's not the pandemic of the unvaccinated. It's a pandemic of the vaccinated. And these types of things, just turn them around and laugh at how stupid it is for people to say you're stupid for asking questions. The basis of science is that it's never settled, and that it blows wide open with the right question asked at the right time. Not shutting down questions because it may upset the general narrative that wants you scared, that wants you in your home, that wants you masked up, that wants you shut up, that wants you not paying attention to your health in a natural way. Those types of things. Just pay attention. You're not crazy. You are not crazy. You are amongst the intelligent ones. You are the ones that are going to save this generation for being the first generation to leave the world a worse place, right? We're on task right now to leave this world a worse place for the generation after us. I'm not going to stand by and let that happen peacefully. I'm not going to let it stand by without doing something about it. So every day, every breath I take, every conversation I have is about figuring out a way to resource my tribe, to do good things, right? To do good things, to ease suffering in the world by any means necessary. So that's it for the show this week, y'all. I'll see you next Sunday. There may be a show this week with a pretty cool guest. We're waiting to see if the schedules all line up. But thank you all. Again, this hasn't been consistent for the last 3 or 4 months because y'all know I've been busy and we've had a lot going on. But Sundays, I'm going to come and visit with you, share the show out, get people together. Just know this isn't a judgmental place. Like I said, we don't judge vaccinated people here unless you want to make other people feel bad about their choice for not. Then get the hell out because we got no room for you. We also don't want people who are unvaccinated being jerks to people who are vaccinated. The point is, let's just support each other in the place where we are and help each other and love each other just a little bit more, because I think that makes the world just a little better place. People like Bob Donald that are watching, Beth Russell, Rayanne Gardner, the original Misfit, Robert Brooker, Andrea, longtime Christopher Case, and all of you people, Laura, all of you, John Duffy, just all of you. Thank you for being with me and having my back as we've gone through this really, really amazing time in history, right? You don't have an opportunity when things are running perfectly. Think this when you go to bed tonight, when things are running perfectly and you aren't a part of that system running perfectly, you don't have a chance for advancement. When things are as jacked up as they are right now, and you keep your head in the game, you keep your heart in the game, you keep your spirits up, you laugh at things, you bring a smile to somebody else's face, you ease suffering for someone else, you are going to be the leaders that are remembered in the history books. So let's do that. Let's do that, y'all. Love harder, ease suffering, do something to support your fellow man, and stay away from these negative people, man. That energy, forget the disease that's floating around. This negativity and fear is literally killing people. So I love you. Let's go infect some people with inspiration. Let's go infect them with some intellect. Let's go infect them with asking some great questions. And I will see y'all next Sunday. Keep looking out for my posts that I put out that are making fun of stuff and smart alecky things, and send me any questions, anything that you guys want me to address on a consistent basis. I'm here. I love you, Misfit Nation, from the bottom of my heart. I'm Jason Sisneros, also known as the Bald Avenger, and I will see you next week. Peace.